Hey, Walter Sorrells back with another Knife Makers Friday 5. Today, big news on the horizon. So my Friday 5s normally come out on a Friday, but this week we had Thanksgiving, so I kind of pushed it back a little bit. Basically, Friday 5s are just me making announcements about things that are going on in the channel, things that are happening here in the Knife Maker shop, and right now, nothing bigger is happening in my shop than the presence of that machine right there. I just purchased a Haas Mini Mill 2, which is a CNC machine, CNC milling machine. I already have a Tormach, which is a much smaller machine, and this is going to allow me to do some really cool stuff. So specifically, this will be the Nightfall, which is the newest design in my Tactics Armory lineup of knives. So for a little background on Tactics Armory, I started Tactics Armory about 10 or 12 years ago, and the idea was to make very simple functional knives that weren't kind of over-designed, but just really functional. Over time, I went down the rabbit hole of working on folding knives, and that whole process of working on folding knives really kind of ate up, I would say, about 2 years of my life as a knife maker. And ultimately, I just realized I couldn't make folding knives, at least that were up to the standards that I wanted, the way that I was building them anyway. So ultimately, I kind of had to take a step back from that. And in the process, moved to a new shop, and that just also ate up quite a bit of time. So the bottom line here is that I'm in the process of really just kind of bringing Tactics Armory back as a brand and as a set of knives. So I'm going to be doing over the next few months, probably over the next year anyway, just a whole sequence of new knives. I'm really going to spend a lot more time on the aesthetics of them maybe than I did on the kind of first wave of knives that I made in Tactics Armory. Really excited about it. I've finally got a shop that is set up for more kind of mid-tech production type work than the shop that I used to be in, which was incredibly tiny. So what I'm aiming to do for the next few months is to spend a little bit more time, not just on my standard educational reviews and so on, knife making type videos, but kind of pull back the curtain on the things that I'm doing around here in my shop. My wife has been watching this thing on YouTube recently about this English guy who has bought a big old huge, I guess it's it used to be a convent. And so he's been fixing up this convent, and every day he does about a 10-minute video just showing exactly what he did. Now, I'm not going to be doing a video every single day, but my hope is to do a little bit more videos than I normally do, maybe with a little bit lower production value, and definitely not as educational in the sense of really trying to walk you through the details of exactly how to make a knife, but more just to kind of show you the trajectory that I'm on with this, I would call it a new venture. It's the same thing that I've been doing for quite a long time, but I'm taking it in a different direction and hopefully kind of stepping it up to the next level. So, by the way, this is kind of the second set of these Nightfalls that I've done. I did the first set on the Tormach, and then the second set I will be doing on my new Haas over there. One of the things that you might find interesting, I hope you'll find interesting as I kind of go into this whole process, there are a lot of people who kind of imagine that the way a CNC machine will integrate into knife making is that you take a big bar of steel, you throw it in there, you hit a big button, and out pops a knife. Nothing could be further from the truth. The real point of the CNC machine, from my perspective, is to increase quality and at the same time bring down the labor. There's a lot of, especially the grinding part of the knife, that's just very high skill work. It's slow, it's grimy, it's cold in the winter, you get your hands all cold and all this sort of thing. there's nothing magical about it, but it does take a lot of labor. And so what I'm trying to do is pull out some of the dumbest part of the labor and leave the highest skill stuff for me to do. And the hope is that in doing it that way, and I mean, in reality, I've been doing it that way for a long time with my Tormach, but now with the new machine, hopefully I can make it even more efficient, bring even better knives to you guys at reasonable prices, for high quality American made goods. Anyway, keep your eyes peeled for that. I'll be rolling out those videos. I'm hoping couple, 3 times a week. We shall see. It takes an awful lot of time to edit videos, so maybe I will, maybe I won't. But anyway, I think a lot of people are going to be interested in how that works. Oh, I should mention, so this is what the Nightfall actually looks like. I'm carrying the, I guess this is probably the first prototype that I made of it, just carbon steel, but the new ones are going to be stainless steel, so they're not going to rust in your sheath the way mine does. Anyway, I'll have a limited number of these for pre-sale at a discounted price for the next couple of weeks. So check tacticsarmory.com. You can reserve one of these. They should be done in the next couple of weeks. So get one a little bit cheaper now, or buy one when they're actually done, and I'll be able to ship it right to you the next day. Real quick here, guys, if you've been enjoying all the free content I've been offering on YouTube for the past 15 years, yep, you heard that right, it's been almost 15 years now, and you want to give back to the channel, there's a way. It's called Patreon. All of my Patreon supporters at any pledge level get plans to most of my builds, plus other bonuses for higher pledge levels, plus you get the good feeling of helping out the channel. So help us, help you. Link in the cards and description. Thanks, and now back to work. Another thing that happened recently, the guys at Pop's Knife Supply, they're supporters of mine, and they help support this channel, but they're also friends of mine, and I really like those guys. They just moved into a new facility, and so I was up at that a couple weeks ago, so I'm going to show you a few pictures of that. They host Georgia Knife Makers Guild meetings up there a couple times a year, and so that kind of coincided with their grand opening for the new facility. Really great place. If you live in the Southeast, and especially if you live in Georgia, Western North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, whatever, it's in Gainesville, Georgia, just outside Atlanta. Very easy drive. Great destination, I think, for people who are making knives. But the cool thing is that they're going to be selling, they've got just a lot bigger facility, a lot more retail space now, and so they're going to be able to sell knives there too. So if you're a knife collector or just have an interest in knives, it'll be a really cool place for you to visit. Also, they're going to be doing events up there, teaching, things like that. I hope to do some teaching up there myself. And finally, I mean, this is just a cool feature of the thing. It was really a brilliant idea on their part. They've got a big old window in the back that looks into a full-featured knife shop. All of the guys up there are professional knife makers in addition to running Pop's Knife Supply. And so you'll see those guys back there behind this window working pretty much anytime you come into the shop. So that's a really fun little feature of the place that they've put in there, and I think it's a great idea. While I was there, I saw Dave Moore, Big Hand Dave, as he's known in the competition knife world. He does competition knife cutting, and he gave a demonstration. That was a lot of fun. I did a little chopping there with him. Anyway, just in terms of the channel, Dave's going to be coming out, I hope, in the next couple of weeks, but at least by early next year, sometime in January maybe. He's going to come out to the shop here, and we're going to make a knife together, maybe chop some things up, and he'll give me a few tips in what he likes in a competition chopper. So definitely catch that. That's going to be a really fun thing. Dave's just a great guy, really fun, great personality, and I think everybody's going to enjoy that video. So if you've been keeping up with the channel for the last year or so, I've reviewed a whole bunch of belt grinders. I did one of those last week. If you didn't catch it, it's a good one, especially if you're in the market for a real entry-level kind of model. I think it's a pretty good one for the price. Anyway, just as a general thing, hopefully in the next, I don't know, month to 2 months, I should have just a kind of wrap up of all my, general knowledge about the belt grinders that are out there, and kind of give you a guide to, if you're getting ready to buy a belt grinder, here's kind of some low-end choices, here's some medium types. So here are some things for you to be aware of or to look for if you're looking for a belt grinder, because you want to get into knife making, or maybe if you have a low-end one and you want to get a fancier one. Just kind of a general buying guide for belt grinders. I really think it's going to be one of the most popular videos I've done, probably, because if you've just generally thought about making knives, the belt grinder is really one of the key tools. And hopefully, if you're kind of thinking like, oh, there's so much information about all these different belt grinders, I don't know which one I should get, this should be a good way of helping you kind of navigate all of those obstacles to figuring out what one you might want to have for your knife shop. One last thing, and this especially applies to folks who are just thinking about making a knife. Maybe you've been thinking about it for a long time, but it seems like there are all these different pieces of equipment and different things that you need to know, and it seems like a minefield to you. If you're one of those kind of guys who really would like to make a knife but just haven't been able to pull the trigger on it, I've got a knife course that I recently developed that's aimed specifically at people who are making their very first knife. So check down in the description. I've got a Linktree link in there that has a list of a whole bunch of things that I'm doing. You can get information on there about that course, so check that out. I think that's just about everything that I've got going on right now. Anyway, hope you'll check out some of these videos as I kind of show you some of the more day-to-day things that I do. I know a lot of people are interested in that day-to-day texture of knife makers' lives, and everybody's different, of course, but hopefully this will be kind of a fun little series that'll show you a good sense of like what I do once I get into the shop every day, kind of what my day looks like. I guess that's about all I've got for you this week. Oh, I do have also a video that I'm going to show about actually setting up the Haas. That's a pretty interesting little process in and of itself. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you soon. Keep on making those knives. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what we're doing here, please subscribe and make sure that you click on that bell so you get notified of all the latest videos. Want to buy a knife from me? Check out my modern blades at tacticsarmory.com. Digging the channel? You can support our video making efforts on Patreon. I've been banging away on these videos for like 10 years, so I hope you'll show some love for all that hard work. Link in the cards and descriptions. Finally, if you're interested in making Japanese swords, check out my full line of Japanese sword videos where I show how to forge Japanese swords as well as how to polish them and how to make fittings, handles, and scabbards. WalterSorrellsBlades.com.